Fans are still scratching their heads this morning after the stunning news of the firing of Flames, well, now former head coach Bob Hartley. The search begins, of course, now in earnest for a replacement. With a new coach comes a different direction for the hockey team. To break it all down, we're joined by Pat Steinberg, the host of the Calgary Flames games on Sportsnet 960 The Fan. And Pat, I know it's backtracking a bit, but I want to get your reaction to this. Did you see this coming at all?
Not really.
Okay.
It was one of those things where at the end of the year, their kind of year-end news conference, general manager Brad Treliving was asked about it. He was asked about whether or not there might be a coaching change.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I don't anticipate that right now, but we're not going to take anything off the table, and the evaluation is just getting going. So kind of thought to myself, wow, I mean, it could happen, but I certainly wasn't waking up every day checking my phone saying, oh, is today the day that they make a coaching change? So I was certainly came down just about after 8 o'clock yesterday. I certainly was not anticipating something like that to happen. That's for sure.
When things like this happen, you think that it had to be a terrible season, not a guy who less than 12 months ago won Coach of the Year, that type of thing, took his team to the second round of the playoffs. I was expecting something like this, if it was going to happen, maybe early into the season if they had a terrible start.
And that's kind of where I was going with it, too. I thought maybe because he's less than a year removed from winning the Jack Adams Trophy. And, yeah, this past season was a disappointing one for the Flames. There's no doubt about it. They finished a 20-point regression. They finished well below where they did last year. They didn't make the playoffs. So it was obviously a disappointing year. But I still thought maybe there was a chance that, well, a pretty good chance they'd bring back Bob for the final year of his contract extension. They signed him to a contract extension less than a year ago. So I thought that this was going to be the final year of that contract. And I kind of thought that you bring him back, and if it's a bad start, maybe then you start to think about making a change. But the one thing I will say, if you're general manager Brad Treliving, if you were going to make the move and you were thinking about making the move, make it now. Don't wait until the start of the season. So as much as it was a bit of a surprise, make it now so you're not kind of adding a distraction to your team when you go into training camp and that type of stuff. So,
saying, is this the guy that's actually going to be here in 10 games?
Exactly.
Brad Treliving yesterday was saying that it was a style of play thing, that they didn't think Bob Hartley could get the style of play out of the players that kind of needs to lead this team forward. Is style of play code for the players stop listening to him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I certainly know that he was asked, Brad Treliving was asked that yesterday about whether or not maybe that had happened, and he kind of said no. I think it was more, it's a real philosophical difference. I think Bob Hartley had a lot of success, for instance, last season when the Flames made the playoffs by a team that blocked a lot of shots, with a team that defended well and was able to kind of score more of their goals on the counterpunch, whereas the most successful teams in this league are teams that get the job done by having the puck all the time. And in the hockey world, we could talk about puck possession all the time. Exactly. Who's got the puck more? Who's got it in the offensive end more? And that was something that Calgary wasn't really strong at. And Brad Treliving's talked about it. He talked about it at the end of this year. He talked about it at the end of last year, how they need to have the puck more. And I think there was a little bit of a philosophical difference there. And I think when talking about styles of play, that's what it came down to. That, you know, Brad Treliving and management were looking for more of the kind of modern way of playing the game, and Bob Hartley's maybe a little bit more of a throwback, and so they saw the opportunity here to make a change, and now they can go out and look for a guy that maybe suits their vision a little bit more.
Bruce Boudreaux, perhaps? I mean, is he a possession guy? Because when you have the puck, you don't get scored on it too, of course, right? So it works both ways. Is he the type of guy? I mean, Anaheim has a pretty good possession, or they did when he was coaching them.
Yeah, that team had one of the best possession rates in the National Hockey League this year. All they've ever done under Boudreaux is basically win Pacific Division titles. His playoff success, Boudreaux's playoff success is not great. They just lost in Game 7 this year. But, I mean, hey, they were in Game 7 of the Western Conference Final last year, too, and all they ever do is have good regular seasons. So, is he a candidate? I think for sure. He might be one of the better candidates out there, but what's really interesting is he's going to be one of those guys that's sought after. Minnesota might have a coaching vacancy. Ottawa does does have a coaching vacancy.
True.
So is he going to necessarily just say, no, Calgary's my place? Is Calgary going to look at him as a fit? I think there's a chance they might, but I do think that they're a team that probably is going to cast a wide net. The really interesting kind of wrinkle of the whole thing is Brad Treliving's now en route, probably has landed in Russia now. He left after the news conference yesterday. He's the co-general manager for Team Canada at the World Championships. So he's now got to perform this coaching search, 2,000 miles away in Russia while Team Canada's playing. So that's kind of another interesting wrinkle.
Maybe he's looking at the KHL. Who knows?
Well,
right?
maybe his coach is over there, but I think that the fact that he's over there kind of pushes the timeline back a few weeks.
Sure. All right. Pat Steinberg from Sportsnet 960 The Fan. Patrick hosts the Calgary Flames pregame and postgame shows for every hockey game. Looking forward to see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun summer.
Busy summer too.